Cabinet Secretary.
Presiding Officer, the nature of Curriculum for Excellence is that it relies heavily on the concept of interdisciplinary learning. So understanding climate change encompasses, through the broad general education, understanding of science, about the life in the outdoors, about the use of resources, about the science behind all of the questions of use of resources. So there's broad opportunities for that to be the case. This morning I launched the Learning for Sustainability Action Plan, which reinforces many of these concepts, and I was delighted by the cross-sectoral endorsement that we've had for this work, and it provides a great opportunity for schools to take forward the vital work that eco-schools have taken forward throughout many schools in Scotland, which creates the very clear aspirations within young people in our society for urgent action to tackle climate change, which this government is determined to do.
Pandering to the demands of the UN seems to be about the only thing the Scottish Government have done in the last 3 or 4 years, especially with Helmut Head in charge. And sustainability seems to be a talking point that comes up time and time again. Climate change is the new and in thing, and what better way to ensure that the radical reforms of the future are met with compliance than to introduce sustainability and climate change related subject talking points into the curriculum for children. One could argue that there's a bit of indoctrination at play there, but that's no surprise to anybody, as the Scottish Government have intended on making the curriculum in Scotland, as of late, nothing other than a far left indoctrination zone for the most part. This is no different, if I'm honest. And I can't quite figure out if the Scottish Government are, in fact, so blinded by their own left-wing ideology that they can't see it for themselves, or if in fact they are part of the problem. It's rather difficult to figure out, but nonetheless, it's rather unsettling that barely anybody seems to be looking into Agenda 2030. Even the mere talk of redistribution of wealth should be in a bit of a red flag. You know what I mean? It's got communism written all over it, and the Scottish Government keep peddling the term internationalist around the joint, and that's been implemented as part of the climate change initiative and sustainability, etc. You know, disconnecting children, or creating a disconnect, I should say, with children from their country, distance the children away from the concept of being a nationalist or proud of your country in favour of the bigger picture of globalisation. Helmut Head in 2015 said the UN Sustainable Development Goals offer a vision of the world that I believe people in Scotland share. Is that so? I am delighted to confirm that Scotland has become one of the first nations on earth to publicly sign up to these goals and provide international leadership on reducing inequality across the globe. We need to grasp the opportunity that following this path offers to create a fairer Scotland and a better world both now and for generations to come. And what relevancy has this got to do with climate change? Fuck knows, but that is the point. There's a glaring red flag as far as I'm concerned with this whole narrative at play here. This climate emergency they speak of. What have they been doing today? What were they doing yesterday? What were they doing the day prior to that? What have they done since they declared this so-called emergency? What are they planning to do? They've done nothing at all. Their actions, the way that they speak, the way that they even speak about this so-called emergency, the way they conduct themselves, everything that they've done, their movements, their activities, they have done nothing to me, that indicates to me that they know something that I don't in regards to our impending doom. They're speaking to no end about the future and what needs to be done in the future in order to reverse this so-called impending doom. All this talk of climate change is back on the agenda again. You know, it wasn't that long ago they were talking about a hole in the ozone layer. Al Gore pumping our utter BS as it's proven to be since then. And before that, what was it? It was the so-called global cooling. You know, and vision for 2030 seemed to be central to the bold new vision for curriculum of excellence as called for by the OECD review. Let's rekindle the moral purpose of learning and teaching to unleash the potential within the system to raise attainment, tackle inequity, and transform the life chances of each and every learner, especially those most in need of support. Recognise the strive for all learners to receive their entitlement to LFS can provide the very inspiration to fulfil 4 capacities. Can also help us realise the ambitions of the Attainment Challenge, the National Improvement Framework, and Development Young Workforce Programmes. After all, it's fundamentally about social justice and the creator of a fairer and more equitable society, social justice. And in 2030, when we have achieved our vision, we will look around and see schools that are the beating hearts of a vibrant, happy, healthy and sustainable community. What in the God? Practitioners will be amongst the happiest, the most content in the world because they'll be excited about each day of learning and discovery as much as the learners will. What are they... Seriously, what are they talking about? Young people will be contributing effectively to their communities through volunteering activities, leading community action plans, and of course, they will be the agents of change, campaigning for the rights of others. Scotland will be the most equitable nation in the world, apparently, tackling the inequity that has persisted for so long, according to the UN. Our young people will have a love for nature and will marvel at our magnificent landscape and seascapes. They will have a marvellous sense of their place in the natural world, and they will seek the outdoors regularly for adventure, discovery, recovery, leisure work, exercise and enjoyment. Scotland will have the cleanest rivers, streets and air to breathe because our young people, through their citizen science and environmental volunteering activities, will have worked hard to protect their local and national environment. And above all, in 2030, we will be inspired by our young people as we are today. They will be wonderfully mature, compassionate, caring and well-rounded individuals possessing the skills, capabilities and attributes to adapt and thrive in an uncertain and rapidly changing world, and will be involved in a range of incredibly interesting things that the adults around them won't fully understand. Okay. So I do find it rather strange that the SNP tried to tug at the patriotic or the nationalistic tendencies of Scotland as a whole, try and get them to vote for independence just so they can literally hand over their sovereignty to the European Union within time. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that the European Union were speaking about the removal of sovereignty within the nations, and it goes hand in hand with the term being coined repeatedly, internationalist, as well as the end game for 2030. Yeah, it's almost as if the European Union make sure that all of the countries in question are held firmly where they are. So it's just a case of handing over the keys, essentially. An economy where growth is underpinned by long-term sustainable investment. An economy where growth is based on innovation, changes and openness. A society that promotes inclusive growth. What the fuck does that mean? And creates opportunity through a fair and inclusive jobs market. An inclusive jobs market, what you mean? Don't hire the white man because he's the oppressor type rhetoric, yeah? Equality of outcome instead of equality of opportunity, because God forbid we ever go down that route. You know, the true definition of fairness and equality. Oh no. We need to go down the communist route. A country with an international outlook and focus, open to trade, migration and new ideas. Oh, fucking helmet head, you wonders never cease to amaze me. John Swinney said that one of the core aims of the Curriculum for Excellence is that Scotland's young people will become responsible citizens operating on a global stage, with the action plan going further, placing sustainable learning at the heart of Curriculum for Excellence and empowering teachers and schools with a suite of tools and training to drive sustainable goals. You know, even rhetoric such as that is questionable at best. Why do you need the UN's goals to dictate the way that we operate as a country? Why can't we do things that would benefit our country as well as society as a whole without having to do what the UN says? The fact that they seem to be obliging to the many demands of the UN in order to reach 2030, it's just bizarre to me.